CEO James's mother gave Tu Diep a car and a new house, but will she accept the gift? The sound of rain tapping gently on the rooftop couldn't drown out the storm brewing in Tu Diep's heart. It had been a long day. After selling baskets of freshly picked gourds at the market, Tu Diep trudged home, her straw hat damp from the drizzle, her slippers heavy with mud. But what she found waiting at the gate made her stop in her tracks. A sleek, black luxury car gleamed in the driveway like a foreign guest who didn't belong. Standing beside it, wearing a silk scarf and a calm, unreadable expression, was a woman she had only met once, the mother of CEO James. Tu Diep. The woman spoke with quiet authority. "This car is yours, and so is the new house at the end of the street. I had the documents signed this morning." Tu Diep blinked. Her heart skipped a beat, not from joy, but confusion. "Why?" she whispered. "Because you've given James peace I couldn't. I'm not here to buy your love. I just want to see my son truly happy." The woman's voice softened, and for the first time, she looked less like a powerful matriarch and more like a mother trying to make things right. But Tu Diep didn't reach for the car keys. She didn't smile. She stared at the gift and the woman as if they were two puzzles she couldn't solve. Memories of the muddy roads, the handmade meals, and James's tired eyes after work flooded her mind. Would accepting these things mean she owed someone something? Would it change how James saw her, how she saw herself? Later that evening, James arrived, soaked in rain, out of breath, and clearly unaware of what had happened. His eyes darted between Tu Diep and the car. "She told me she just wanted to thank you," he said quietly. "But I told her, you're not the kind of woman who's moved by things." Tu Diep looked at him, and her voice trembled slightly. "She means well, but I don't want anything that makes me feel like I belong to anyone's debt. I just want us. Whatever that means, whatever it costs, even if we have to walk through the rain to find it." James reached for her hand, and in the silence between them, the luxury car remained untouched, a symbol of everything she had the strength to walk away from. The next morning, the sun broke through the clouds as if the rain had never happened, but the uneasiness in Tu Diep's chest remained. Word had spread quickly in the village. Whispers followed her, to the well, down the market path, and even to the small shrine where she often left flowers for her late mother. "Did you hear? She's rich now," someone murmured. "They say she's moving to a house with marble floors. She's got the mother-in-law's blessing. She'll never sell gourds again." Tu Diep lowered her eyes, not because she was ashamed, but because none of it was true. She hadn't accepted the house, nor the car, nor the easy path that had suddenly opened in front of her like a red carpet rolled out for a bride. "She will," James replied, "or at least, she'll see that no one can give you anything you don't earn yourself." They sat there for a while in silence, hands grazing over wet soil and growing roots. It was enough, but peace doesn't last forever. A few days later, James received a call from his assistant. There had been an unexpected move on the board. John, the man who had once tried to ruin his company, had returned with a new strategy. Investors were being swayed, projects delayed, and whispers of sabotage returned like old ghosts. James knew this meant trouble, and worse, danger, not just for the company, but for Tu Diep. That night, as they walked by the riverbank, he hesitated before speaking. "You may need to stay at the new house," he said. "Just for a while. I know you didn't want it, but it's safer. It has security, and I wouldn't forgive myself if something happened to you." Tu Diep stopped walking. The moonlight cast a glow over her face, making her look almost ethereal. "James," she said softly, "you don't need to protect me from your world. You just need to let me walk with you through it." He looked at her, eyes clouded with love and worry. "But I don't want to lose you because of what I inherited, this chaos." Tu Diep shook her head. "You won't lose me. You'll only lose me if you try to face it alone." At that moment, James realized the greatest gift Tu Diep could give wasn't her love. It was her choice to stand beside him, even when every door offered her a way out. The next day, James returned to the city. His eyes were tired. His shoulders weighed down not just by spreadsheets or contracts, but by something deeper, betrayal. Tu Diep remained in the countryside, not because she was hiding, but because James insisted. She kept herself busy harvesting gourds, cleaning the tiny school she once taught in, and every night, waiting for James's voice on the other end of a call. Sometimes he sounded like himself, sometimes she could barely recognize him through the silence between his words. Then came the news. James's company was under investigation for financial irregularities. His name was splashed across business headlines. Stockholders were pulling out. Employees were panicking. And worst of all, John had been seen meeting with key investors. Tu Diep read the articles in disbelief, her hands trembling as she scrolled through the screen of the phone James had once gifted her. That night, she called him. He didn't pick up. She tried again, nothing. Worried, she packed a small bag and boarded the earliest bus to the city. She didn't care if the apartment James had bought for her still had boxes untouched, or if she had to walk through unfamiliar streets. She needed to see him. When she arrived at his apartment, the lights were off, but the doorman knew her and let her in. She found him on the balcony, staring at the skyline like it might fall apart at any moment. His tie was loosened, his shirt rumpled. "James," she said gently. He turned, surprised, but then his eyes softened. "Why are you here?" he asked. "Because I knew you wouldn't call," she replied. "And because I promised I wouldn't let you face this alone." James looked away. "It's bad. Tu Diep, they want to ruin me, and now they're dragging my family into it." "Then we fight," she said, stepping closer. "You're not alone. We'll find a way." He stared at her, this girl from the countryside, with no business degree, no corporate training, but somehow more courage than any executive in his office. "I don't know what I did to deserve you," he whispered. Tu Diep smiled, brushing the hair from his face. "You didn't do anything. You just chose to love the right woman." A few days later, James's mother came to visit. This time, her tone was different. She didn't bring keys or property papers. She brought soup. Tu Diep was surprised. "I made too much," the woman said, placing the pot on the table. They sat in silence for a moment before James's mother finally spoke. "When I gave you the house, I thought I was helping," she said. "But I realized I was doing it to make you feel indebted. That was wrong." Tu Diep looked down, unsure how to respond. "I can see now," the woman continued, "that you're not after his wealth. You're after his peace. And that's worth more than anything I could put in a deed." There was a long pause. Then Tu Diep nodded. "I still don't want the house," she said, "but I'll share a meal with you anytime." A small, genuine smile appeared on James's mother's face. It was the first one Tu Diep had seen. But the calm didn't last. A mysterious letter arrived at James's office the next week. A warning. An anonymous source claiming John had set him up not just for financial failure, but for something far worse, a criminal frame-up. If proven, James wouldn't just lose the company, he'd lose his freedom. And suddenly, Tu Diep realized the real test of their love was only just beginning. James held the letter in his hands, the edges trembling slightly as the weight of its words sank in. John wasn't just trying to ruin his reputation, he was trying to bury him. The anonymous message was clear: you trusted the wrong people. The documents John leaked were forged. Look into the river dam project, follow the money trail, and you'll find who's behind it. But be careful, he's watching you. James closed his office blinds and locked the door. His first instinct was to call Tu Diep, but he stopped himself. He couldn't risk pulling her deeper into this war. Meanwhile, Tu Diep wasn't idle. Ever since James had withdrawn, she had been secretly gathering information. She visited the outskirts of the city where the failed hydroelectric project had been based. Locals talked of workers left unpaid, materials that vanished in the night, and a man with slicked-back hair who came every month to check on progress, John. When Tu Diep returned home that evening, she found James waiting in the apartment, visibly exhausted. "I think I've got something," she said. James looked up sharply. "Tu Diep, I told you not to get involved." She crossed her arms. "And I told you I'm not leaving you to fight this alone." James pulled a small object from his coat pocket, a voice recorder. "This," he said quietly, might be everything. He explained what had happened during his staged hospital stay, a plan only Toon, his assistant, knew. While pretending to be unconscious, John had visited and made a critical mistake. He talked. The recording was faint but clear. "James, you don't even know, do you? You're precious, damn. I pulled the money. I made your investors panic. You'll go down, and I'll watch you fall. Just like your father made mine fall. This is payback." Tu Diep's eyes widened. He admitted everything. James nodded. "If we give this to the police, we might be able to clear my name. But what about the bigger picture?" she asked. "What about the stolen money, the people who suffered because of him? You can't stop at just saving yourself." James looked at her, really looked at her, and realized this wasn't the same village girl he once met. This was a woman standing shoulder to shoulder with him, ready to face fire for what was right. He nodded slowly. "Then we fight not just for us, but for everyone he hurt." The next morning, James set up a meeting with his legal team. The recording would be the first step, but not the last. He also arranged to meet CEO Min, who was known not only for his sharp business mind but also his connections in the legal world. Though they were rivals, James knew Min was honest. Min listened carefully to the recording, then leaned back in his chair. "You realize if you go public with this, John won't back down. He might disappear or fight back harder. I'm counting on it." James said coldly, "I want him to run. That way, we can track him." Min studied him for a moment. "You're not just doing this for business." "I'm doing this for her," James said simply, glancing at the window, where the city buzzed with the lives John had tried to ruin. Min smiled slightly. "She must be quite special." "She is." Back in the countryside, an unexpected visitor came to Tu Diep's family home. John. He wore a gentle smile, brought a basket of fruit, and asked to speak with her privately. Tu Diep was wary, but agreed. "I heard James is in trouble," John said, voice low and smooth. "I came to offer help." She narrowed her eyes. "You want to help the man you tried to destroy?" John sighed dramatically. "You still don't know the full story. His father took everything from mine. I'm not the villain, Tu Diep. I'm the one seeking justice." Tu Diep shook her head. "Justice doesn't come in the form of lies and betrayal." John leaned forward. "Has he told you everything? About the land his father stole? About the real reason my mother died in poverty while his father lived in luxury?" Tu Diep stayed silent. "Think about it," John said as he stood up. "You're carrying James's child, aren't you? What kind of world are you bringing that child into? One built on stolen foundations." Her breath caught. "How did he know?" John smiled. "You see, I know more than you think." He walked away, leaving a silence that echoed louder than his words. In the story of CEO James and Tu Diep, we are reminded of a powerful lesson. The truth may be buried for a time, but it always finds its way to the surface. James faced betrayal, loss, and injustice not only from his rival John, but from the legacy of secrets his own family left behind. Yet he chose not to run or hide. Instead, he searched for the truth, even when it hurt. Tu Diep, despite the temptations of wealth and comfort, remained loyal not to power, but to integrity. Her support for James was not based on gifts or status, but on trust and shared values. The lesson here is clear. Loyalty built on honesty is stronger than any lie. And even when the past is painful, confronting it is the only way to build a future worth living. We all have moments when we're tested by betrayal, by temptation, by fear. What matters most is how we respond. Will we let bitterness shape us, or will we choose courage, truth, and love? Like Tu Diep did, true character is not revealed in moments of ease but in the storms we survive. And who stands beside us?